Hey folks, welcome back to part 3 of our list of the biggest money making movies of all time from 1975 to 2019. In our first video, we kicked off with 1975 to 1985, and our last video covered 1986 to 1996. This time we're going to cover 1997 to 2007. So we'll kick it off with 1997 and a juggernaut of a movie. This was, of course, directed by James Cameron and starring Leonardo DiCaprio and starring Kate Winslet as well. This, of course, was Titanic, and this was unstoppable at the box office in 1997. Everybody went to see this movie 2 and 3 times. For a long movie, 3 hours long, they came back in their droves. And it also won Best Picture at the Oscars for James Cameron, and he won Best Director as well. So a clean sweep in 1997 for Titanic. 1998 saw the disaster movie Armageddon take the money-making movie that summer, starring Bruce Willis and Liv Tyler. All about a meteor going to hit the Earth and a shuttle being sent up to intercept. A fun movie. And of course, Aerosmith had a massive hit with the song I Don't Want to Miss a Thing from that movie. Shakespeare in Love took the Best Picture Oscar that year, but didn't get the Best Director for that. It was Steven Spielberg picked up Best Director that year for Saving Private Ryan, and I always believe that Saving Private Ryan should have won Best Picture that year, not Shakespeare in Love. I haven't seen Shakespeare in Love, so I won't comment if it's good or bad, but I do think that Saving Private Ryan should have won Best Picture that year for Spielberg, but he did get the Best Director. 1999 was the return of a massive franchise in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, prequel to the original Star Wars trilogy. A massive disappointment to a lot of Star Wars fans, including myself. I won't get into that at the moment, but it did make a bag load of money. It was huge that summer, and people were queuing and camping out for days for tickets for that movie. But it didn't live up to the hype, in my opinion. It's not a bad movie, but it just didn't live up to the hype for me. That year, American Beauty won Best Picture and also picked up Best Director for Sam Mendes, I think, directed that movie as well. But it did win Best Picture that year in 1999. Moving on to 2000, and Mission Impossible 2 took the biggest money earner that summer. The Tom Cruise franchise is still going strong to this day, and it's a very entertaining franchise. Say what you want about Tom Cruise, but he does entertain. He does a lot of his own stunts in these. I have these movies on Blu-ray here, and myself and my young fella have watched them, and thoroughly entertaining movies, really good, and very well made movies. That year, Gladiator won Best Picture, directed by Ridley Scott, who did not win Best Director for Gladiator. I always thought he won Best Director for Gladiator, but he didn't. Ridley Scott did not win the Oscar for Best Director for that. That was won by Steven Soderbergh for Traffic in that year. Gladiator won Best Picture, but didn't get Best Director. And Russell Crowe, I believe, won Best Actor. Marvellous performance by Russell Crowe in Gladiator. So that was the year 2000. 2001 was the beginning of the Harry Potter franchise. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone taking the money that summer. It was changed in America to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for some reason. But in Europe it was the same as the books. I remember Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. That year, A Beautiful Mind won Best Picture and Best Director for Ron Howard. A massive movie for me. I really like that movie. Russell Crowe's performance in that is outstanding. Jennifer Connelly plays his wife in that. Another truly great performance. Great movie. If you haven't seen A Beautiful Mind, do check it out. I highly recommend that movie. It is absolutely fantastic. Directed by Ron Howard. That was 2001. Moving on to 2002 now, we have The Lord of the Rings Part 2, The Two Towers, directed by Peter Jackson. Massive movie, massive trilogy for Peter Jackson. Really well made. Special effects in these movies are outstanding. And of course, it brought us the Gollum character. Absolutely fantastic. But it didn't win Best Picture that year. That went to the musical Chicago, starring I think it's Richard Gere was in that, and Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones. I haven't seen Chicago, so I will not comment on that movie. But Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers did not win Best Picture that year, but it took the gong for most money made in 2002. 2003, it's Lord of the Rings again, The Return of the King, taking the money and also taking Best Picture and Best Director for Peter Jackson. I think the Academy were waiting for the trilogy to end to honour Peter Jackson for his work on those movies, and it absolutely cleaned up at the Oscars that year in 2003. Again, it was accumulation of the 3 movies, and it was well deserved. A massive trilogy. I'm not a massive fan of the Lord of the Rings, to be honest. I find them very long. They're just not my thing, but they are fantastic movies and very well made, and worth a look once even. Definitely. And 2004, we have surprise for me this time for the money-making movie that year. It was Shrek 2, the Mike Myers animated feature, which Cameron Diaz voicing as well, and of course the wonderful Eddie Murphy as Donkey in that. He is absolutely hilarious, and he makes those movies. That's Shrek 2 took the money that year, and $1 Million Baby with Hilary Swank starring in that, directed by Clint Eastwood, the boxing movie. An excellent movie. Really takes a turn, that movie, in the middle of it there, and it comes out of nowhere. Really took me by surprise, and a great movie directed by the marvelous Clint Eastwood. $1 Million Baby, check that one out. 2005, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire taking the money that summer. That franchise went strong for a couple of years there. It was just unstoppable with the books and the movies. And that year, Crash took the Best Picture Oscar, and the directing Oscar did not go to Paul Haggis, I think. He didn't win it that year. It was actually won by Ang Lee for Brokeback Mountain, who took Best Director. Again, the Oscars throw up some anomalies sometimes. Usually the Best Picture and the Best Director go hand in hand, but it didn't this year again. Ang Lee won Best Director, and Crash won Best Picture in 2005. Moving on to 2006, Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Dead Man's Chest. I'm not a big fan of these movies. I'll be honest with you, Johnny Depp hams it up here as Captain Jack Sparrow. I'm not a big fan, but it does make a lot of money at the box office. They're absolutely huge. And of course, The Departed won Best Picture that year. And finally, Martin Scorsese got the Oscar for Best Director. Long overdue. I think he should have won it for Goodfellas, but he didn't. He should have won it for a lot of other films, but he didn't. But he won it for The Departed, a very, very good movie. I don't think it's his best movie, but he won Best Director, and it was won Best Picture in 2006. Finally, 2007, again we have the Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. I haven't seen this movie. That took the most money that year, the biggest blockbuster, and No Country for Old Men won Best Picture. The Coen brothers here, what a massive movie this is. This is a really great movie starring Tommy Lee Jones and Javier Bardem as the terrifying, he's a psychopath in this. He really, really, really is, he is one of the most scariest characters ever put on film. And that's a very, very good movie, No Country for Old Men, taking the Best Picture Oscar that year. And Pirates of the Caribbean, as I said, taking the gong for most money made. So that's your list for 1997 to 2007. If you haven't seen the previous 2 videos, you can get them on my channel, 1975 to 1985 and 1986 to 1996. In the next video, we'll move on the years to 2008, and we'll go up to 2019. We leave out 2020 because of the COVID. Not many movies were seen in the cinema that year, so it wouldn't be fair to include movies in that. So again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it if you can, and slap a like on the video. For those of you who have subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. It means a lot to me, and I hope you're enjoying the content. And until the next video, take care, and we'll talk soon.